Hey, welcome back to Tips Over Tea. This is episode 23. I am Nicole, your host. We had the great pleasure of speaking with Marni today. You ever think about how chemicals end up in your body, in your bloodstream? Well, one of the easiest ways is by putting toxic substances on your body because it goes through your skin into your bloodstream. And a lot of the products on the shelves, unfortunately, have toxic chemicals in them. So we talk a little bit about that today. If that's something you've ever been curious about, then go ahead and grab your tea and listen in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 23 of Tips Over Tea. I am Nikki, your host. We have the great pleasure of welcoming Marni Miller to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yay! We're excited to have you. I just learning a little bit about you. You were a physical therapist and an athletic trainer. So you got to deal with folks after they've gotten injured. But you have since shifted to more health and wellness, like prevention type stuff, it seems. Yeah?
Exactly.
Awesome. Tell me more about what caused that shift initially.
Yeah. So I was one of the probably few people that knew what they wanted to do when they were little and did it. Like I knew when I was 12, I was going to be a physical therapist and I was going to work with athletes. And I went ahead and I went to school and I did it and I loved it. And then I started a family. And when I was my last job, I was traveling around the world with one of our U.S. women's soccer teams. And so it was not a family friendly career.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to stay home with my girls and I did, and I loved it. And I stayed home for 15 years. And then my little one transferred to private school, which was not our plan. We're good savers, but we hadn't planned on she was in 7th grade at the time. So we needed to make a shift. My husband worked for the government, loves what he does, but there's not any big windfalls when you work for the government. Yeah. So, and my kids were old enough, there was no excuse for me not to be making this work, but I just kind of picked whatever I could pick. And I wound up working with a realtor and working with this woman who I had bought products from for years with Arbonne, but I really didn't know much about it. But here I was in a situation where I needed it. She offered it. I wasn't in a position to say no. So I did it. And of course, if I'm going to do it, I want to learn about it. So I started learning and I realized what an amazing opportunity this was. This was everything I loved about physical therapy, of helping people live their best, healthiest lives. But just like you said, from a preventative standpoint, so it took it even better than than anything I could have done with PT. And so I just kind of dove in and made the commitment to make this my primary career. And I grew my business to the point that I didn't need the real estate. I was not in love with that industry in any way. I love being around people who want to be better. So I switched to being all about Arbonne, and then I became a group fitness instructor because I kind of made the commitment that I want to surround myself with people who want to be better. So I teach older people, I teach younger people. I'm kind of all over the place with that, but it's each one of them, like they show up. And, and it's just such an inspiring, and I don't care if they're late and I don't care if they have to modify, and they showed up. And to me, that's just super inspiring.
Yeah.
So that's what I do now. And that's why I do it.
I love that. So it's really interesting that you've had this passion for helping people live their best life from an early age. I love that. I didn't know that. And you're like, how can I do this better and from home just to support? I love that it has come to a point where it was able to support your family. So you literally created your life around like, this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it. And that in itself is inspiring.
Yeah, once I realized the opportunity, and that like any business, you can make it as successful or as, you decide how much you're going to put into it. And, but unlike a lot of corporate jobs where you don't get to choose how big you get in the company, this I did have the option to choose. And so I I saw what I could provide for my family and the flexibility that I have in my schedule. And I have one daughter in college, and we can hop up there whenever we want to. And if if there's shows for my little one, like I have the opportunity to do all that. And it's so fulfilling. Like I only do well if I'm helping other people get healthier. Like that's a win, So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nothing wrong with win-win.
Yep.
Awesome. So tell me more about, a lot of people have questions around like what kind of products should I look for on like ingredients list on skincare products.
Yeah.
I know Arbonne is not just skincare, but a lot of people know about supplements and stuff, but I want to kind of touch on the skincare, and then we can shift over to the supplement side of it. But like, what type of stuff should people be really cautious on with looking at the ingredients in their skincare?
Yeah, great question. So, and Arbonne started 42 years ago, and it started with skincare. So skincare is definitely our bread and butter. Nutrition is my passion, and we can talk about that more later. But it started from day one in the United States with a Norwegian scientist who saw, even as good as Europe is, they were starting to dilute their products a little bit. And so he came to the US and made the commitment that it was just going to be a vegan, clean company. And so that's the key, is that it's all plant-based. There's third-party testing, which is super important. There's no parabens, there's no sulfates. There's 2,000 things that we don't have. So I certainly can't go through the whole list, but the key is that the US bans 11 ingredients from all of their personal care products. The European Union bans 1,400. So
big difference in number.
Right. And again, like as a physical therapist, we don't learn this. We don't learn about nutrition. We don't learn about ingredients. Doctors don't either. They'll be the first ones to tell you they get maybe half a day in nutrition. So being really educated about ingredients was so eye-opening, because you just make the assumption, we're in America, of course we have the best products. And it's not, unfortunately. They're available, but you have to know what you're looking for. So the parabens, the sulfates, anything that has petroleum, or there's a million versions of petroleum, mineral oil, there's so many different names, unfortunately, that it can be really tricky as a consumer to know. But all that is like putting saran wrap on your skin, so that whatever else is in your lotion or your skincare product can't seep in, because that petroleum, that, again, like just, it's Vaseline, it seals everything and nothing else can seep in. So whatever other great ingredients might be in your skincare, they're not getting any.
The purpose.
Yeah. And that it's in so many products because it makes them last longer. They keep the shelves so much longer. Our products aren't sold in stores because we don't have an infinite shelf life. Even products from European companies, when they're sold in the States, different preservatives are added to them. So so they're not the same product. That, a L'Oreal in Europe is not the same L'Oreal that's here. Different things are added to it because in Europe they're not allowed. But here they can, and it allows them to stay on the shelf longer, and which is better for their business. So those are probably the sulfates, the parabens, any mineral oil, petroleum derivative are ones that you just need to avoid for sure.
What's interesting is the term mineral oils is very deceptive, because you think, oh, minerals are good for me.
Good point.
If you, in that respect, it's not. It's like petroleum.
It is. Yeah, it's a derivative of petroleum. So it's just like slathering Vaseline all over you.
No breathing of the skin.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I've learned, I think that's one of the things I love most about doing this. And it's been about 4.5 years that I've worked with Arbonne, and there's so much to learn, because we don't, I mean, the regular consumer does not know these things. And
No.
even I consider myself an educated consumer. I have a lot of degrees. I don't know any of this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just fascinating to learn. And then you take it into nutrition and it's a whole nother ball game. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting. Do they carry hair care stuff as well?
We do. We have shampoos, conditioners, some hair treatments. Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I imagine those same ingredient wise.
The ingredient policy applies across the board. We have over 400 products, but they all have the same ingredient policy. Everything we have is vegan. Everything we have is gluten-free, which you think of gluten-free in food. You don't think of gluten-free in skincare or hair products. And it's a big problem because, again, it's another filler. And people who do have gluten sensitivities or celiac don't realize that they're reacting because of something they're putting on, it could be their lotion.
Yeah.
And they are eating really clean, and yet there's, garbage in their skincare.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have a tendency to forget that, our largest organ is our skin, and it's absorbed right into the bloodstream, and
Which is awesome, which is why patches are so effective and why the medicine is moving a lot towards transdermal, patches and things like that, because it's such an effective form of delivery. But, but it can be just as harmful, in the same way.
Exactly, because it bypasses the digestive system, breaking it down. It's just like direct.
Exactly. Yeah, they say, and I've never done this experiment because I'll give you the punchline at the end, but they say if you put a clove of garlic between your toes or between your fingers, you'll start to taste it within 30, like pretty quickly, like certainly within 30 minutes. I don't know. The problem is, the reason why I don't want to do it is because to get that taste out, it's not easy. So I'm like, I'll just trust you on that one.
Like, is there something else we can use instead? Maybe some turmeric. Because that's a distinctive taste. You would know if you tasted it. Of course, you'd have orange toes for a little bit, but
but we know it. I mean, we know the transdermal patches for nicotine, things like that. They're very effective. We know it works. So then, why would you put toxins on your skin?
Yeah. I love that. So cool.
And makeup's another big one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of animal byproducts in it. So I learned that almost all, I can't say all, but a lot of mascaras have bat poop. It's not called bat poop in the ingredients.
I'm sure it's not.
But whatever the scientific word for bat poop is, it's in the majority of mascaras. Like, how gross is that?
Why?
So I don't know, but so there's no animal byproducts in any of our stuff. Even if you certainly don't have to be vegan to use Arbonne. Sure. But if you want, do you really want animal byproducts in something that's not a piece of chicken or a piece of beef? Like, you need, an animal byproduct in your lotion or in your lip balm or, so, and it is in all that stuff and, in a lot of products. So that's where it's just so nice that I know across the board that there's none of that garbage in there.
Yeah.
So, and with the animal byproducts comes all the hormones that they ate. And, so it's not just that you're getting, whatever fat from the animal to, it's all the other stuff that this poor animal, especially in the States, and there's plenty of documentaries you can watch about it, and all those hormones are now being rubbed on your skin and you're ingesting. So it's pretty scary. It's really unfortunate.
It is.
Because there's clearly methods to not do it.
Right.
They're just not cheap and easy.
That's true. And since we aren't lobbyists, the only way we can vote is with our dollars, right? Stop buying the crap and they'll stop making it because you're decreasing their bottom line by not supporting their processes.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's kind of my mission. And it's kind of funny you say that. The past couple of months, I've tried to become much more aware of everywhere that I'm spending my dollar, not just Arbonne, you know, of like, what do these companies really stand for?
Yeah.
And it could be big companies. It could be, you know, we all love mom and pop, and I'm a firm believer in mom and pop, but not all mom and pop stand for the right thing, you know? So, you know, trying to get more educated on where we're spending our money is not that hard, but something a lot of people, I didn't do it. Like, who am I to say? You know, I didn't do it for many years. So, but that's something I'm really trying to become more aware of.
Yeah, same here. Mine is really starting with the local farms and things like that. Because, you know, in a grocery store, you'll see locally. So does that mean they have good practices in their local or bad practices in their local? Like, there's still a difference.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree. And it all came because Arbonne's a B Corp, which I didn't know what that was. But I learned. And it's, you know, their stance on the environment and on how they treat their people. So and B Corp is not industry specific. So Ben & Jerry's is a B Corp, Patagonia is a B Corp. You know, there's companies all over the world that are B Corps, but they are certified in. It's not the end all be all certification, but at least it's something that speaks to their ethics of the company. So once I learned that, I was like, yeah, we really need to care more. We need to care more. We're putting, we're spending money.
It matters because we forget that. Like, if you think about it, if we all stopped buying, like, that is a huge voice right there, right? But we just think just one of us, we're not a big deal, but
right.
It can be. It can be. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. So tell me about what type of nutritional products do they have now?
Yeah. So our main, so we started nutrition probably a little over 10 years ago. So before I started, and I'll kind of give the quick version. When I started the company, we have a 30-day to healthy living program. And I told my husband to do it because I was like, I eat healthy. I'm good, you know? So, and I don't particularly love being told what I can and cannot eat. So I made him do it, and I watched, and of course, typical guy, lost a bunch of weight, whatever, you know, but he also, like, it looked pretty easy to do. And it involves 2 shakes a day with a probiotic and fiber, some energy drinks that are made with green tea extract, so they're much more mild than coffee and soda. And then snacks and meal, the third meal on your own, but everything's gluten-free, dairy-free for 30 days. And so I was making his meal, and it was very easy to accommodate to that. There were plenty of things I can make with that. So after watching him, I was like, okay, I'll do it, you know? So I did, and I was shocked at how I felt. I lost some weight, which was great, whatever, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand nutrition. I didn't understand gut health. And I was shocked at the bags under my eyes were gone. I was sleeping through the night. I didn't have these crazy mood shifts and energy shifts during the day. Little bumps on my arms were gone. Like, all sorts of things that I was like, is this real? You know? So then I started digging into the research, and gut health is no joke, you know? So, and after the 30 days, I slowly reintroduced foods and realized, okay, gluten's not great, but dairy was a problem. And I never knew I had a sensitivity to dairy, and everyone's going to have different, right? But it was super eye-opening to me because I didn't know I didn't feel well and it felt better. So, and I had been living with this chronic kind of bloating, stomach ickiness for years.
It's normal.
My norm. And it was crazy that I didn't have to feel that way. It was a bummer because I thought most of my problems were my girls' fault. And I was like, girls, it's all their fault. I don't blame them anymore. So yeah, it was super eye-opening. And I'm not always super consistent. But I am definitely, I know that I'm going to eat something, how it's going to make me feel. And sometimes it's worth it, right? And sometimes it's not, and that's okay. So So the protein is my big, we have a protein, chocolate, vanilla, and coffee thing. And then we have, it's a probiotic, prebiotic, and digestive enzyme. It is unbelievable for gut health. What sets it apart is that it doesn't start breaking down until it gets into your intestines. Most probiotics, first of all, it's shelf stable, so it doesn't have to stay in the fridge. And most of them, as soon as they touch your salivary glands, any saliva, they start breaking down. So even if they've got however many CFUs, it doesn't matter, because it's mostly gone by the time it gets to your gut. So that's one of the one product that is, we call it the muffin top eraser. Amazing. It is. So I add it to my shake, but that's like a must-have product for everyone. We have fiber that's also shelf stable and can be used in baked goods. You can use it hot and cold. It doesn't break it down. So that's a really nice one. The Energy Fizz is probably one of two products that if life ended and I needed to run out of the house, that's what I'd be grabbing. It comes in several flavors, but it's made with green tea extract. So it's not this, I used to be a coffee drinker. I didn't drink a lot, but I needed a cup every morning. And this has replaced that. And it's just that you don't feel tired. You feel like you're in a nap. It's not like you're, all up, because you don't get the crash afterwards. It has a flavor, but it's not thick and syrupy. It's just enough that it's a flavor. It also has all sorts of other great, minerals and vitamins in it too. So I love our Energy Fizz. And, that's I can't speak about that enough. And then we have things like Mind Health, which is as I say, it's for when you lose your train of thought. For people who are, squirrel in the middle of the afternoon and having a hard time focusing, it's amazing. I actually add it in the mid-afternoon to my Energy Fizz. I put it in together. And its main ingredient is what they use with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's patients as well. So it prevents the neurotransmitter degeneration. We all get degeneration over time, but this slows it down. So it's good for everyone. But it's especially good if you're just having a hard time focusing. It's not anxiety. It's not like that. It's just if you're kind of all over the place. So that's one of my favorite. We do have something called Intercom for anxiety. So if you're not, we don't treat anxiety. We're not doctors. Right? So I want to be super clear. If you're feeling anxious, it does really help calm you down. It doesn't make you sleepy. It just helps calm you down and kind of recenter yourself. And these are all powders that you add to water, and they all play nicely together. So you can always mix things together if you want to do that. So so
you need to calm down and focus. You could just like make your concoction and get your natural Adderall.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's all natural. It's all plant-based. Again, it's all third-party tested. We have clinical results, stuff that whatever you see at CVS doesn't have to do. So the direct sales network, direct sales, yes, I think it's network, requires you to have a lot more testing than things that you'll see on TV ads with, you really think Jennifer Aniston's using this stuff? Like, come on. So and they don't require the same kind of testing that we do.
Well, I can definitely appreciate that, because I know some, like you said, some supplement companies are not required to do that. And when one takes the time to do it, it's a win-win, even though it doesn't necessarily feel like that for them initially, which is why a lot of them do it, because it's a cost involved.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but we've always, that's been a pillar of Arbonne from the beginning, is to have those clinical testings and the third-party certification. We have a separate scientific advisory board. It's a big deal. And for me, coming from physical therapy, prior to that, I went to a science and tech high school. I've always been a research junkie.
Ooh.
So, total nerd at heart. And that was something that was super appealing to me too, that they took the time and took that really seriously versus like, it's pretty and it works, So, and the other thing that is really nice is the stuff tastes good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, like, I am not forcing myself to eat anything. So it actually really tastes good, which is nice too.
Yeah, that is definitely helpful.
Yeah.
Because who wants chalk?
Right.
Like,
yeah, it's not worth it. And
right.
I think the best thing is living, like not being alive, like living, and it's not like, you don't want to dread your meals. That's a horrible way to live. So, and I mean, I have family members, that are like, oh, you eat so restrictive or what. I love my food. Like I don't dread a single meal.
Yeah.
So, and I also love the way I feel.
Right.
And I think that's what makes the biggest difference is when you realize that you can have good tasting food and feel great. You're a lot more motivated to stick with it. So,
Absolutely. And then people also forget to consider, like, especially in the US, because we're always so go, like part of consuming a meal is actually enjoying it, the environment that you're in, the company that you have, even if you're sitting by yourself, but just like where you're consuming your meal and how you're feeling before, during, and after you consume your meal, right? Like if you're stressed before you eat it, your body's really not thinking about digesting food. It really, all that to take into consideration. And you don't know that you're not feeling well until you start feeling well because you started eating better.
Yeah. It doesn't take a minute. Like you've got to stick with it. So, I mean, that's why our program is 30 days and you don't have to do the 30-day program, but if you want to see changes, that you kind of have, it takes 30 days to develop new habits. It takes 30 days to clean out your system. I mean, it takes a minute. You can't just say, oh, well, I had a shake, so with that said, like I love my shake. So I now have a shake every morning. Whether I'm doing the 30-day program or not, doesn't matter. I really like it. So I stick with it. I like the way it feels. It's filling. And I will be the first to admit the morning breakfast is the one that I am not sitting and focusing on my feel. I'm drinking my shake on the way to work, so but I know that I am not going to feel gross afterwards, that I'm not going to crash an hour later, that all those things. And so it's become like, whether I'm traveling, doesn't matter, like I'm having a shake every morning.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, as I said, 30 minutes goes quick. So we're coming up on 30 minutes. So I always like to leave the last few minutes of the segment to just ask if there's anything you've got coming up that you would like to share, if you got any special offers that you would like to offer anybody who happens upon this video a little later, how they can reach out to you and all of that.
Super. So I'm assuming we can put my contact information.
Yes, they will be in the description.
Perfect. And there's a conference in Maui right now for our national vice president. Just announced that we're getting new protein coming out in September that's even lower in sugar. So ours is pretty low, but they're coming up with even lower. So we're super excited to have the chocolate and vanilla protein and a lower sugar. So that's something that's huge. And I think there's a few other new products that are going to be released in the beginning of September. So definitely, reach out to me. I'll get you on my Facebook page and you'll get, first to know on that. So the other thing that would, there's so many people that now that summer's over, they're ready. They're ready to reset. They're ready to feel good. They're ready to get into a routine. I'm the first one to say, like, routine is hard in the summer. So, I'm actually on day 4 of my 30-day program. But I start groups all the time. And so if you're ready for a reset and, want it, whether it's the breakfast club or the full program, I hold your hand for the whole thing. I text you every day. I give you recipes. I answer a million questions, whatever you got. If you're ready for a reset, this is the perfect time for it.
Absolutely. Right before the holidays hit. You got time.
Good. Coming good. Exactly.
I love it. Awesome. Well, Marni, I thank you so much again for your time. Those of you who are watching now or whoever catches this later, I really thank you for your time. I hope you got some really good information. Of course, if you want any more information, reach out to Marni. Her information will be in the description, or is in the description. And with that, I just make sure you like, subscribe, click the bell so you'll be notified every time we upload a new video or we're going live, so that you'll be notified, right? And so, because we always want to have you there. If you have any questions, we're always going to be checking the comments. So feel free to comment on the video, and if she misses it, I will send it to her. Make sure you guys get in touch. But until then, thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next week. Ciao.
Thank you.
Thanks again for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and click the bell so you'll be notified anytime we upload a new video or go live. And as always, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to post it in the comments. We're always checking that. In the meantime, have a great rest of your day.